Well, hello and welcome to Update 14. I am Ryan Fran, the Chief Communications Officer for the Arcadia Unified School District, and happy to be joined by Dr. Van Osdal, our superintendent, with us.
Glad to be joining you, Ryan, from my office, aka a bedroom in the Van Osdal household.
It looks very nice. Yes, this is the way of the world right now. Well, you and I talk every day. I know you're busy on teleconferences with the county, the state, and your superintendent colleagues and the like. And you and I, again, are in communication all the time, but it's nice to be virtually joined by everyone else at this time in our district, our parents, our staff, our community, and our students, of course. So we just want to we've been doing so many updates, and I've been looking back, and our first update, Dr. Van Osdal, as you know, was actually January 23rd when we sent out the first update about the coronavirus and letting people know kind of what this is and to be on the lookout. And then, as we know, the past 2 weeks have really sped up and the situation is now much more serious. We started out with school closures 2 weeks. Last update, we just extended that. So I'm very grateful of your time. I know you're very busy. We're answering a lot of emails, a lot of questions. So we thought we would check in with you and get some time from you as far as providing the next update. We'll do this virtually through video and kind of get your thoughts on where we've been, where we're going, and answer more of those questions for those people. I've gotten some great feedback. They appreciate the updates and what we're doing to communicate and inform our community. So first question, again, great to see you. I know you're busy. Kind of your initial thoughts as we're processing what we're going through and what's on everyone's mind, and especially you right now.
Yeah, well, Ryan, it's hard to believe that I have to keep reminding myself that when I count back, we are like only 5 to 6 school days in from the closure, the Friday the 13th, the first day of closure. It feels like it's been a month, if not a year. So much is happening by the minute. But I can't stress enough that for me, and I know our team in Arcadia, our staff, the health, the safety, the well-being of our students, our staff, and our school community has always been our priority and will continue to be. There's a lot of questions and a lot of things that haven't been answered yet as we move forward with our learning. But I always want to take it back to the fact that our closures was about one thing, and that was flattening the curve and ensuring that we took steps as a school community, along with the county and the state, to do our part to make sure that we're doing everything to keep everyone safe. And I know as I speak to some of our students that, so many of them aren't that concerned about, being infected with COVID-19. And we just constantly have to remind each other that any of us could be a carrier, could be infected and not even know, and could be transmitting it to some of our most vulnerable community members, both some of our students that have medical issues or people that live with extended family in the household and have elderly people that are vulnerable. So we will continue to ensure that everything we do is through the lens of safety first and ensuring that not just the health of our families, but the fact that we don't know what each of us are dealing with in our own household. So once we went on the safer at home order, and we're all trying to do our part to stay at home, that also means that people are dealing with a significant number of impacts to their lives. And so as we move forward, trying to keep that in mind, I believe is important.
Yeah, I think the first thing that everyone in our district, our staff, and all of us are concerned about is obviously, like you said, the health and safety of our students, getting that situated, making sure we're following the county, the state, federal orders, with everything being safer at home. I know a couple of questions coming in are about the distant learning. I've never seen anything like this where the news cycle changes so fast. So initially it was 2 weeks, we'll be back. And now we just made the announcement last Friday that we're going to May 5th. So that obviously brings us new challenges and new changes as everyone adjusts in real time. What are some of the things we'll be looking at with the changes in distant learning going forward from this point on?
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. I want to take us back first to just that Friday the 13th when schools were closed. We got that notification at 10 a.m. From the county, from our county superintendent, Deborah Duardo, and we did everything possible to get that messaging out to our staff and our students and our community so that we could at least try to prepare within minutes, if not an hour, of possibly being closed at that point for 2 weeks. So it was a very short-term task. What is it we can give students? What can we share with them that gives them some stuff to just keep busy for a couple weeks? So it was about getting materials out, giving options, supplemental materials, creating that website. We put a lot of resources to ensuring that so many teachers were sharing, what are the best places for students to go to, and relying at that point on parents as partners in this process. There's no way you can replicate what we do in the classroom at home. And by the way, that's difficult on a good day at school. In public schools, we meet so many different needs, and we recognize that, and that's part of our job, is to ensure that we're meeting the individual needs of each student. And that's a challenge on a good day at school in the classroom with all the supplemental supports that we have. When students start going home, we know a one size will never fit all, and that's not going to work. So from that 2-week plan of just trying to get some stuff out to all of a sudden this past Friday, as you just mentioned, now we're in an extended closure. It changes everything. Now we have to start to look at our fundamental structures, our processes for communicating, and how we will sustain this type of learning at a distance over weeks, months, possibly longer. So it was a big shift, and I want everyone to know that we are working on this as fast as we humanly can. One of the things that we have to be careful of is that we have to follow the guidelines. We have to be sure that the legal advice from the county, from the state that's coming down. You take one thing like high school grading. That's a question I hear a lot, right? Like, what does this mean for seniors, especially for high school students with credits? That's a good example of, this isn't a time for a district to jump out and just say, this is what we're going to do. I mean, there's clear guidelines that will come down from the state because we're all in this together. And it impacts all students across the country, across the world, that are all competing for college applications, et cetera. So to try to get ahead of that, by the time we communicated a direction, we'd be wrong. The guidelines would come out. We would have to undo them. We'd have to, explain why that's not the case, what we're going to pivot to now. So there's this fine line between trying to stay right behind the guidelines, but ahead enough to ensure that parents, our students, and our staff are getting the support they need. And I just want to recognize that that's frustrating, because sometimes the timelines for getting that information is not the timeline that a parent needs or that I need as a superintendent. And, that's the same friction I felt in that day or two prior to the closure on Friday the 13th, right? We were getting a lot of pressure, a lot of anxiety from parents, and I understood that. I also wanted to make sure that we followed those guidelines from the experts and trust that they would make those calls when necessary. So we're in this pivot now, and we're transitioning. I am very proud of our Ed Services team led by Dr. Forsey. They are working with our teacher leaders and collaboration to figure out exactly what that looks like at each level, and to provide more structure and support to our teachers and to our students, but also, again, recognizing that it will not look the same for every child, because we do want to recognize that our teachers and our students all are very different and have different needs. So we're really starting to focus this week on making sure that the lines of communication are open. Now, I've seen some amazing things already with that, and I know that that's happening. But I also know that there's some areas there where we need to support some staff. So if we need to provide more support, share best practice of what is working well, that's kind of where we are right now, because we want to begin to make sure that all parents feel supported during this.
And I think we appreciate the perspective too, because I think sometimes it's easy to get kind of lost in all the things that you need to consider. We're a TK through 12 district. We have so many grade levels, over 9,000 students, different types of students, English learners, students with disabilities. And so to consider all that and then work within education code, county, state, federal level, it's a lot to comprehend. But like you, I was so proud of our teachers and staff that had those optional resources ready to go week one, day one of the closures. It's amazing. And now we continue to evolve, which is, what we have to do. But it's definitely a process. I appreciate you explaining some of that process. And I know there's much more to it. But I think people appreciate the transparency of what goes into it and how involved it really is.
Yeah, Ryan, I used that word empathy early on in one of our updates, and I just want to stress that because I recognize when I talk about that whole spectrum of needs from our parents and our students, that for every parent that's begging for a very rigid, give me a lot of work, and I want that for my child, and I want to keep them busy. There's also the emails that I receive from the households that are in crisis, and they can't take one more thing right now. They are dealing with immediate, real medical issues in their family that pertain to this crisis, or just the change of life from parents losing jobs or now at home, etc. There's just a lot to think about, and we want to ensure that we're respecting everyone. And so, I know I've been getting some emails from parents. Well, I will push back on them to, contact the teacher, contact the principal. And sometimes people aren't always comfortable with that, but there's a why behind that, is that we trust those relationships. And if what the teacher is doing is not meeting your needs, then let's have a conversation, because we have resources that we can provide additional to meet your needs. But we have to have those conversations. We have to open that up, and that is our focus right now.
Thank you, Dr. Manal. So I'll appreciate that. And just to give people some context and some more transparency about what we're doing right now, you and I have some talking points, but it's not much more than that. So if the video looks odd or we cut each other off or something like that, we apologize, but we're just trying to give you a different look, a different approach, and be vulnerable. And, we're all in this together. So we're just trying this, and maybe this is a better format for an update, and we'll see how it goes, but we appreciate everyone's patience. So speaking of timelines and all that, any other timelines that we know about? We know how fast they change, but any other timelines looking forward that you may have, and we can use our favorite term, as of now?
Yeah, like I said, the immediate focus is on the opening those lines of communication. We want to begin to ensure that all students are getting opportunities for learning, some work or a menu of things to work on that they can be working on actively at home, and then submitting and getting feedback back from teachers. And we know that that's going to begin to roll out this week, if not already. I've already heard of a lot of amazing, innovative ways teachers are doing that. We will begin to see more guidance coming down especially for the high school students and those seniors. I just say that because I want to continue to recognize that I get it. This is a point of a lot of anxiety for our students and for our families with those seniors or even juniors rising, because so much is on the line. And when we have that guidance, we will be prepared to act on it. Just like we were making all the plans for the closure, waiting for that day that we received that guidance. So I'm expecting something to come out from the state and the county on grading. Specifically, how are we going to maintain grades and be issuing grades and credits, and then also issuing diplomas for graduation and what that might look like. I believe we're about a week away from receiving that information and being able to get that out. I know that's not always the answer people want. They want those answers right now, but I would not be able, as soon as I gave you an answer, it would be changed tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to being able to get that out as soon as possible, and want to assure you that I will.
And Dr. Manal, so we know how many amazing teachers and educators we have in Arcadia Unified, and seeing just some of their posts on social media, their innovation of how they're connecting with students now in this unprecedented time of education, it's been inspiring to me. What are some of the things you're seeing from our teachers that are kind of mind-blowing to you as well?
Yeah, it's been very rewarding over the last couple of years to watch our staff really expand their tool belt of being able to serve kids, and differentiate instruction in the classroom, multiple ways to assess students, a long way from the old time of just having, you start on chapter one in a book and you move through the whole book. I have to admit, there's been days in the last couple of days where I wish we were back at that, because that would have been a whole lot easier to just send the textbook home with kids. But it's forced a lot of innovative practices from our teachers. And so as the students move to home and the teachers move to home, watching them be able to use those tools has just been a really neat experience for me as a teacher one day. So I just really applaud all of their work. I've been watching teachers that have been doing hangouts, with their classrooms, even continuing to do restorative circles, and kids are logging on and they're going through that normal protocol as the wind blows and checking in. So a lot of creative things that are going, and we're trying to get that word out and share with the teachers that are having success with that, sharing what they're having success at, and then supporting those that are not right now. So we're looking forward to making sure everyone's online with that and all our students are being checked in. So some really cool things going on.
Yeah, it's been so great to see everyone throughout the district and what they're doing and how they're connecting and still really caring about the students. And in the community too, we're seeing all these great gestures of kindness and neighbors helping seniors and people making store runs for people, and just amazing things in humanity in this kind of tough time right now. What else can the community do to help support our students, our staff in our district? What needs do we have? Everyone's been so kind. What can they do? What is your message to those people wanting to do more for us, our students, our staff, and our community?
Well, usually I'm the one being asked things, so appreciate that, Ryan. I'm not used to having the ask, but there's two words that I shared with our principals just recently when all this started. On the first day of the closure, and it's space and grace. And I want to share that because in this unprecedented time, everyone on an individual basis, collectively, are facing our own challenges. This is a new way of life, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety for everyone. And then, of course, school and academics and learning layered on top of that. I just ask that people pause, and give the people in front of them some space to be able to make the right decisions and to think about what they're doing, because there's no playbook for this right now. There's nothing I can go get off a shelf or a teacher can. We're all in this together. And so that space is really important. And then grace. I think we just need to assume good intent from everyone around us. I know I am. I'm getting a lot of emails and parents that are frustrated and anxious, and I understand. I recognize. I always pause to know that what the situation they're in, they're doing the best they can, and they're asking for help, and they need more. And I'm doing everything possible at this time, and I know my staff as well, to meet that. So I think that's true for us in our education community. I think it's as true for everyone that we come in contact with. Like, we just don't know what each other is dealing with, and we want to make sure that we get through this together.
Very well said, as usual, Dr. Benazdo. We appreciate your time. I'm just going to give some people some quick communication information, and I'll give you the last word after this. Just so we're always so concerned that people get all of our communications. We send it out to our parent email list. We've been very lucky. Our email system has worked very well. Once in a while, we'll get a parent or somebody saying, I'm not receiving the emails. We have some backup insurances, avenues, just in case you're not receiving our emails. We're posting all of our updates on our website, ausd.net. We also post all the updates on our social media page. You can also sign up for our community email list as well. That may take a day or two to get in our system, but as a backup, if you're already not in our system or you're a parent that hasn't received any emails, go to our website, ausd.net. You'll go to the coronavirus update page. You can sign on for our community email list. Please only do it once, and that's if you're not in our system already and you have some glitch. We haven't had much of that at all. It's been great. And again, I encourage you to follow us on our social media pages. We're posting not only our updates, but some other less urgent things to keep people in the loop, closures about certain programs that we're related with, et cetera, et cetera. And we appreciate all the support from everybody. But those are some ways to make sure you're staying connected And again, Dr. Banalstal and I are just trying this update 14 as a video update to try a different format and hopefully see how it goes. Again, it's not the most polished thing that you'll see from us, and we apologize for any issues that we have during it, but we wanted to do that. Again, from my perspective, the community has been wonderful, our staff amazing, the resiliency of our students has just been so wonderful to witness. So I'm just so appreciative of all the support we're getting as a school district to our community and parents. Dr. Banalstal, I'll let you wrap it up. I know you've been so appreciative too of everything and all the gracious comments of our parents, community, and the like.
Thank you, Ryan, and I'll echo your words. I'm incredibly proud to work alongside and in the city of Arcadia with Arcadia Unified School District. We just have extraordinary people all around us and that are absolutely stepping up to this challenge. I know in my career, anytime that I've faced a big challenge, you really find out what you're made of. And I say that because I am proud of everyone around us and what they're doing. And we will get through this. I am confident that we will be stronger on the other side of this. We're going to continue to face many challenges, as fluid as this is, and things continue to update. We will continue to adapt. We will continue to communicate with you. And together, that partnership will rise above this challenge and this crisis, and we'll be back and we'll be better together. So thank you for allowing me to have this time to share some thoughts, Ryan.
Thank you, Dr. Banalstal. You froze up there at the very last second. We almost got out of here without any freezes, but you froze up at the very last second. But you were just thanking me. Appreciate everything again, and appreciate your leadership. It's been amazing working with you through this, and having you as a leader has been, couldn't ask for a better situation for me and my perspective doing communications and helping with some of this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll give you one last wrap it up. We froze you the last 3 seconds there. So go ahead. There's our mistake we were talking about.
Yeah, thank you. And no, Ryan, what I was mentioning is my confidence in the fact that we will get through this together. And as we started this year with our motto, we are better together. And I appreciate everyone in this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Banalstal. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Again, we'll continue with our updates as promised. Check out our website, ausd.net. Check out our social media pages as well. And we'll be in touch as soon as possible. And again, we are better together, and we will get through this. Thank you again, Dr. Banalstal. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Ryan.